So Elon Musk is doing the impossible, and I guess I have to respect him on some level because he's doing what no one has been able to do, and that's finally killing Twitter. And I guess I now understand why people think of him as a messiah. He recently came up with the genius idea of making Twitter a subscription service with the blue check marks, because that's what people love and want more of. It's not like people are sick of paying for Netflix and Disney and any other streaming service all at once. Now, making famous people pay for something doesn't bother me. What bothers me is that you need a blue check mark to do what you were able to do before, like people being able to see your tweets. You know how people can see your comments on this video? Yeah, not that. Because apparently not paying the $8, which is probably like $12 in Australia, you may as well be shadow banned and your visibility is now hidden behind a paywall. So in an effort to preserve free speech, Elon has done the complete opposite, so now it's basically paid speech. Having to pay for the blue check mark is like saying I pay money just for attention and you'll look like a cunt. But considering you need to pay for anyone to see your shit in the first place, it'll probably make you feel dirty like buying a huge dildo, but it'll be out in public. For the promise that you would get from a dating app, like here, pay for this premium service and your profile will get boosted and you'll get more matches. So as well as this, a widespread ban of accounts has occurred, so you can be banned now for impersonating, but not misinformation or racism. So a bunch of accounts got banned for changing their names to Elon Musk, including Kathy Griffin and Ethan Klein from H3H3, who also used the opportunity to speak on the relationship between Elon Musk and Jeffrey Epstein, which is true that Elon Musk hung out with Jeffrey Epstein after it was publicly known what had been done. Sounds very libertarian, if you know what I mean. Now, other accounts have been created to parody other figures, but haven't been hit with this much scrutiny. As Ethan Klein has stated, comedy is dead on Twitter, and Elon killed it. And while you can be banned for impersonating, it's going to be difficult if someone takes your name first and then gets verified. So is there any real way of confirming that someone is who they claim they are now? So they've proven their point that Elon caring about free speech is complete bullshit. I mean, what do you expect from a company that's second largest investor is the government of Saudi Arabia? After being criticized about the blue check marks, Elon, when it was pointed out and the purpose of the check marks was so that people could be identified if they're a real person, it was mostly for famous people and or journalists, Musk replied, "You represent the problem, journalists who think that they're the only source of legitimate information. That's the big lie." So does Elon understand, though, that there needs to be some kind of vetting process for people to make sure that they're getting their information from a real source? So that's stupid. What's also stupid is expecting any normal person, or just anyone with a brain in their skull, to pay for this. Which is great. People are going to, by default, stop using the service, and the shithole that is Twitter might hopefully burn. These are the issues with this, though, is that there are small businesses and artists that get their shit out there with this platform, and they would have to find a new platform. It's not likely, though, with these genius ideas, that the platform will die anytime soon, especially since Facebook is still a thing, even though Meta exists. So if you're an artist or a small business owner, you don't have to worry, although you will have to pay the $8 a month to promote yourself, otherwise no one will see your content. So you should expect that his management of the site is going to negatively affect it, and it has already, as advertisers are already pulling out of their support of Twitter, including Audi, Pfizer, General Mills, and United Airlines, which comes from Elon struggling to balance his free speech absolutist attitude and trying to prevent Twitter from becoming 4chan, which is what the platform is slowly becoming. Apparently there's a report already that says the N-word has increased by 500% on Twitter, done by the NCRI, the National Contagion Research Institute, which is funny that they do reports like this. And this is what most free speech absolutists are arguing for, so that they can either say the N-word or spread other misinformation. And of course, the reason why these companies are doing this isn't because they actually care about any of these issues. It's because they want to avoid their brands being tarnished by being in any way associated with these points of view, which anyone who isn't a dumb fuck should have realized would happen. And Elon had initially attacked them for this by saying a thermonuclear name and shame needed to happen, but he of course pussied out of that and changed his tune by begging them to stay. They also banned a bunch of people who worked on Twitter and are now having to beg them to come back as well because they can't run the site otherwise. Banning all of these people has also brought the site's safety into question because multiple jobs have to be done by fewer people to make sure that the site runs smoothly. So along with not being able to do what you did before and paying for it now, you are now less safe on the site than you were before. I wonder if they'll make you pay for that too. Facebook seems to be following in his shoes as well, since they just fired a bunch of their staff from Meta, so maybe Meta and Twitter could die soon. Just like you're going to be struggling to pay for the Twitter blue checkmark, Elon also had to struggle to pay for the Twitter deal, and he had to sell $4 billion worth of shares of Tesla, which he did just in time to buy Twitter. Apparently, investors are preparing for Twitter to be a money hole for the next year or so, because this is what happens when you piss off advertisers, and you have come up with big brain ideas like making people pay for something they already could do before. So if Elon wants this to go smoothly, he needs to shut the fuck up, otherwise our prayers have been answered, and this dumb platform will finally be dead and buried. I'm saying all of this as new information just came out earlier that Elon has said that bankruptcy isn't out of the question and has admitted that Twitter is going to be in a downturn and that the subscriptions are going to have to make up half of the revenue, which sounds very unlikely, and I don't really understand how they could expect anyone to really pay for this. So to summarize, making people pay to be seen, allowing the spread of misinformation and racism, taking down accounts that parody him but not doing the same to other accounts that parody others, firing people who run the site, some of which protect the users, and then having to beg them to come back, scaring off advertisers and failing to reassure his investors that the damage isn't as bad as it seems, it would seem as though Elon is off to a very rocky start. I thought I'd have to do a video on this dude at some point, so this is just my excuse to do it. I really don't understand how anyone could like this guy. He's a smug piece of shit, and he's also cringe. He hasn't invented anything, and his own ideas, or at least the ones he's backs, as of late have been terrible, like the Hyperloop. This dude doesn't seem to understand that we already have metro stations. I mean, he's the modern-day Thomas Edison, who has done what even Thomas Edison couldn't do, which is stealing Tesla's name. And I'm sure he's looking up at Elon and smiling right now. So anyway, what are you guys' thoughts on the Twitter situation?